today.
It's really fantastic to welcome you here to Lancaster House. And it was right here, earlier this month, that the UK convened leaders from across Europe, in fact in this very room, together with President Zelensky, to support a just and lasting peace in Ukraine. Because we know that Ukraine's security is our security, and we can only deliver it by taking bold action at home, with the highest sustained increase in defence spending since the Cold War, and also by working together with our international partners. Now, the same is clearly true for the security of our borders. Illegal migration is a massive driver of global insecurity. It undermines our ability to control who comes here. And that makes people angry. It makes me angry, frankly, because it's unfair on ordinary working people who pay the price, from the cost of hotels to our public services struggling under the strain. And it's unfair on the illegal migrants themselves, because these are vulnerable people being ruthlessly exploited by vile gangs. So look, we must each take decisive action in our own countries to deal with this. Nobody can doubt that the people we serve want this issue sorted. But the truth is, we can only smash these gangs once and for all if we work together. Because this evil trade, it exploits the cracks between our institutions. It pits nations against one another. It profits from our inability at the political level to come together. And that's why, from the moment I took up office, I said the UK would convene this summit. And I'm really delighted to be joined by all of you here today. We've got representatives from more than 40 countries across the world. There's never been a bigger gathering of people on this issue, building a truly international effort to defeat organised immigration crime. And let me tell you why this matters, and take you back to a visit I made as a relatively new Member of Parliament back in 2016 to the camps on the outskirts of Calais. I can still remember it in my mind's eye. The muddy ground, sodden with rain and human waste. Children as young as 5 and 7. And that struck me because that's the same age as my children were then. Huddled together in freezing temperatures with almost nothing to keep them warm. Now, of course, that infamous camp has long gone, but the evil of the people smuggling businesses that put people there, that remains. The gangs remain. The exploitation of desperation, of misery, of false hope, that all remains. And there's nothing progressive or compassionate about turning a blind eye to this. There's nothing progressive or compassionate about continuing that false hope, which attracts people to make those journeys. That we've got to get to grips with it once and for all. That's when I spoke at the Interpol meeting in Glasgow last year. I said we need to treat people smuggling as a global security threat, similar, if you like, to terrorism. We've got to bring to bear all the powers we have at our disposal in much the same way that we do against terrorism. Now, before I was a politician, I was the Director of Public Prosecutions in England and Wales. And we worked across borders throughout Europe and beyond Europe to foil numerous plots, saving thousands of lives in the process. We prevented planes from being blown up across the Atlantic and brought the perpetrators to justice. So I believe we should treat organised immigration crime in exactly the same way. I simply don't believe that organised immigration crime cannot be tackled. So we've got to combine our resources, share intelligence and tactics, and tackle the problem upstream at every step of the smuggling journey, from North Africa and the Middle East to the high streets of our biggest cities. And look, to that end, we have begun to make real progress. Since I came into office, the UK has reset its entire approach to international collaboration. I put smashing the gangs on agendas of international summits, showing that the UK now means business, working together with our allies, with you. We've struck new agreements and plans with so many of the countries represented in the room here today. Take our work with France as a good example. Now, previously, their maritime doctrine prevented French law enforcement from responding to small boats in shallow waters. But now we're working with them to change that, to make sure we get new border patrols and specialist units on the French coast using state-of-the-art surveillance technology. With Germany, another example, if you can believe it, it wasn't technically illegal to facilitate people smuggling to a country outside the EU, like the United Kingdom. But now it will be. And with our new bilateral agreement, Germany will be able to prosecute the criminal networks facilitating this vile trade. Just a few examples of the international collaboration that's so important to taking this challenge on.